Good morning, students. Today our topic is simple permanent tissue. Before this topic, in the previous class, you have learned about the meristematic tissue. We have seen in the last classes that permanent tissues classified into simple permanent tissue and the second complex permanent tissue. In the simple permanent tissue, we will see that the tissues are mainly composed with a single type of cell, and in this complex permanent tissue we will see that the tissue composed with the different type of cells. Here today we shall discuss about the simple permanent tissue. First, we may define it in a simple way: the tissue which made up of a single type of cell is the simple permanent. What are its type? We well know, before this we have learned that supportive functions are the strength. On the basis of supportive and the strength, this tissue, that is the simple permanent tissue, has been classified into parenchyma, number 1, number 2 Collenchyma, number 2 Collenchyma, and number 3 Sclerenchyma. All the cells of this tissue are similar, just it is made up by a single type of cell, and that cell is the parenchymatous cell. Similarly, if you will come here and see what are the name of the cells which compose this, here is also a single type of cell, that is the collenchymatous cell. Here parenchymatous cell, and here similarly sclerenchymatous cell. So that's it is now very clear that a simple permanent tissue is made up by a single type of cell, and this, in supporting point of view, it is of 3 different types: number 1 parenchyma, number 2 collenchyma, number 3 sclerenchyma. Now look about these 3 different type of tissues with their structure and function. Number 1, that is the parenchyma tissue. This tissue is mainly present in the soft part of the plant. In the soft part of the plant. What are those soft parts? The soft part, that means it is present in the root, where the soft, in the stem, in the leaves, fruits, seeds, etc. That means all the morphological parts we have seen here. In all these parts where there is a softer region, in that region parenchyma tissue is present. Now, what are its different characteristic features or its structure? You may write in a very simple way the tissue composed with a single type of cell. The shape of the cell is oval, spherical, isodiametric. Isodiametric, that means expand in all direction. If you talk about its characteristic features, then you can write parenchyma characteristics features, like number 1, it is a tissue which composed of a single type of cell. And number 2, regarding its shape of the cell, what are the shapes of the cell? It is oval, spherical, isodiametric. The cells are loosely packed or arranged. The intercellular spaces are present. Here may you write in the first point, it is a tissue which composed of a single type of living cell. I have missed this important point, living cell. As when we classify it parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, parenchyma and its cells are living. The collenchyma and its cells are living, but the sclerenchyma and its cells are not living. Those cells are a single type of cells, but these composed with the living, collenchyma also composed with the living, and sclerenchyma composed with the dead cells. We will discuss this one in later on. The intercellular spaces are present, large vacuoles are present, large vacuoles are present. These are the some characteristic features are present. Denser cytoplasm, but smaller nucleus. So these are the some characteristic features of this parenchyma tissue. It is a simple permanent tissue. It is made up by a single type of cell, and there are some special features of the cells which made this tissue. I have discussed here in a few points, and now it is present. Earlier we have seen here that this tissue is mainly present in the softer part of the plants. The parts may be the root, stem, leaves, fruits, etc., etc. Now, somewhat regarding its function. Now, functions of the parenchyma tissue. Here the two diagram also, which is of the parenchyma tissue. This diagram shows the different parts, like this is the cytoplasm. It is the cytoplasm. Here is a large vacuole. This is the large vacuole. This is the cytoplasm, thin cell wall, and these are the It is actually shown here, this the vacuole. Here is, I have already labeled here the vacuole. This is the nucleus, this is the chloroplast, and there is a intercellular space here. Here is also intercellular space, here is also intercellular space between these two cells. There are, this is the intercellular space. So this is the diagram. Now come and know about the, let us come to know about the functions of the parenchyma tissue. This tissue is mainly present in the softer region of the plant body, and it mainly helps, number one, in packing. That means packing means the spaces between the two tissues that will be packed by the presence of this parenchyma tissue. The second important function is the storage. It may also store the food materials or the nutrients. And the third important functions and the fourth important functions in regard to this tissue, the third one is that in certain situation the parenchyma possesses the chlorophyll and manufacture the food materials, that is the photosynthetic functions. And the fourth one, in the some parenchyma tissue there are presence of air cavities. That air cavities help the aquatic plants in floating on the water. When the plant float on the water, that air cavities help. This is known as the buoyancy and maintain the hydrostatic balance of the plant. Like in case of the hydrilla, in case of the vallisneria, the two aquatic plants. Aquatic plants. In case of hydrilla, and in case of vallisneria. So these are the some examples of the hydrilla, vallisneria are the plants, aquatic plants, which possessing the air cavities, and due to that they can float on the water body. So these are the some functions. Now come to the second important type of simple permanent tissue. Here the second important type of simple permanent tissue, that is the Collenchyma. The tissue having the living cells, and it is mainly provides flexibility to the plants. And now some special characteristic features. The cells are elongated, the cells are thick walled with irregular thickening at the corners. That means in the corner areas there are much more thickening, and due to the deposition of cellulose and pectin, very little intercellular spaces are present. As this Collenchyma tissue is related with the flexible regions of the plants, that is why those parts of the plant which are usually bending, those parts of the plant which are flexible, in that area these tissues are mainly present. Like flexible regions of the plants, what are those flexible regions where it is present? Like below the epidermis of stems, in the leaf stalk, and midrib of a few leaves. With the, as you well know, that plant is non-motile. They fixed at a particular place, they withstand with the help this Collenchyma tissue provide them such type of flexibility, nature and characteristic features ki even in a wind and if there is any adverse environmental condition at that time also, their branches, their twigs, their important parts cannot broken. So these are some facts due to the presence of Collenchyma that you may have seen in the case of the Parenchyma, in case of the Collenchyma. All of these is supporting in nature. Now the third important part, Sclerenchyma tissue. Before that, we again draw a diagram of the Collenchyma tissue. Here is a diagram of Collenchyma tissue. We are discussing presently Collenchyma, you will know, and we have discussed about its features and of functions, and now come to this diagram. Here is the thickening of cell wall at the corner end, and overall the cell wall is thicker than that of the Parenchyma. Here the nucleus, the large vacuoles are looking here, and this is a transverse section of Collenchyma. Now after this, the third important type of simple permanent tissue is the Sclerenchyma tissue. Sclerenchyma tissue is the only tissue of the simple permanent which are composed by dead cells, that is the Sclerenchyma. This is the third type of simple permanent tissue, and its cells are dead. A single type of cell, and all that cell is dead cell. And when in the plant there is some special key features, it is may helpful to you when while you will write the notes on the tissues. When there is a dead cells, usually the cell wall are thick, and this tissue is present in the harder part, and it mainly related with the protective functions of the plant body. Here is some special features of this tissue. I will write here. I have written some special features of the Sclerenchyma. Out of the three different types of simple permanent tissue, the first two which we have so far discussed, that means the Parenchyma and Collenchyma, those are the living, and only one, this Sclerenchyma, is the dead. The dead cells are dead, the cell walls are thick. The cell walls are why thick? As because it is due to the deposit of lignin. The cells are closely packed, and there is no intercellular spaces are present. The cells are long and narrow. The shape of the cells are long and narrow. Cells have thick cell wall. I have already written this one again here. The cells have thick cell wall with deposit of lignin. Lignin is a chemical substance which acts as a cement, and its deposition within the cell wall may prevent some substances for entering into the cell. And here is a simple diagram. It is already in your book also. It is a lumen, L-U-M-E-N, lumen, narrow lumen, and this is the thickened lignin, thickened cell wall. So these are the some fact about the Sclerenchyma. Next part we will discuss about the type of Sclerenchyma, its occurrence and functions. Here we are in the last part of the Sclerenchyma tissue, its type. Before this we have discussed about its special features. Once again I have written here one important point. It is the only simple permanent tissue which lacks living protoplasm. It is mainly of two types: fibers. These are long, narrow and thick wall cells with tapering pointed ends. Sclerites. It is the second important type of the Sclerenchyma, it is hard, irregular with lignified walls. Now, what are the locations? Where does this tissue present? This tissue is present in stems around vascular bundles in the veins of leaves. So, this is the actually when you will categorize the locations of the fibers and sclerates, then may you these points, that is the presence of this tissue in the stems around the vascular bundles and in the veins of leaves, which I have underlined here. This is the locations of the fibers, and which I didn't underline, it is the location of sclerates, that is the hard covering of seeds and nuts. It provides mechanical strength to the plant, and due to its rigidity, may you one more important function can you write here, due to its rigidity it can withstand environmental pressure or stresses. So, these are the some functions. So, we have so far in this part of our lesson, we have so far what we have learned. We have learned about the three important types of the simple permanent tissue. In the three different types, we have seen in the first two types, Parenchyma and Collenchyma are the living, and the last one, that is the Sclerenchyma, it is the third type, and it is the dead. And all these three, in the first case in the Parenchyma, you have seen that it provides strength, it provides protection to the softer regions of the plant. And the second one, Collenchyma, it provides strength in the flexible regions, in the bending parts of the plant. You will know that a plant is having the extensive branches, and those branches always, due to the wind and due to some other adverse environmental circumstances, they can be bent, and that Collenchyma is provide strength and support in that extent. And the third one is here Sclerenchyma. A coconut, you have seen the coconut, नारियल आपने देखा होगा, नारियल के ऊपर का जो हस्क है वो इसी का बना हुआ है। इसी तरह से और भी आप हार्ड कवरिंग सीड और नट, ये सारे इसके बने होते हैं। और ये इसके दो टाइप मैंने यहाँ पे बता दिया आपको, स्क्लेरेंचाइमा के दो टाइप हैं, और इससे बहुत सारी चीज़ें भी बनाई जाती हैं। इट हैज़ द इकोनॉमिकल इम्पोर्टेंस ऑल्सो, लाइक रोप्स, टेक्सटाइल्स, जूट, fibers, etc. All are this prepared from these sclerates. So these are the some sclerates, and with the help of the fibers. These are the some fact about the Sclerenchyma tissue. In this section of our lesson, we will learn about the two other important type of simple permanent tissue, that is the epidermis and the cork or bark. Here these two type of tissues mainly in the protective sense of the simple permanent. Protection, when we have classified the simple permanent, the supporting point of view, we have seen three different type of tissues. Those where Parenchyma, Collenchyma, Sclerenchyma, ये तीनों थे उसमें। और जब हम लोग इसके प्रोटेक्शन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से जब देखेंगे तो इसमें हम लोगों को 2 और भी टिश्यू को पढ़ना होगा। और बहुत ही सिंपल, ये तो बहुत ही मैंने ब्रीफ में आपको जानना है, 2-3 लाइन का है, और ये थोड़ा सा डिटेल में वी विल डिस्कस दिस वन इन ए डिटेल, दैट इज द एपिडर्मिस। हियर आई हैव रिटन 4 important features. It is the outermost, all the parts of the body, the entire parts of the plant body are covered with this type of tissue, that is the epidermis. But the epidermis is usually made of a single layer of cells. It has a single layer. That layer is the in continuity, and here a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Here you have seen tissues form a continuous layer without intercellular spaces at its nature to protect each and every part of the body. Just in case of the animal, epithelium tissue. It is in case of the plant, epidermis tissue. So the epidermis is usually outermost layer of the plant body. It is usually made up of a single layer of cells. What is its function? Since it has protective role to play, cells of epidermal tissue form a continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Often the outer and side walls of cells are thicker than the inner wall. This is some special features of this tissue. This tissue, and in this, the structure of the tissue having the several special features, it can not only protect, but it possessing some interesting facts, in some interesting structure in their part, in the when they are in the leaf region, may you see that here and there are presence of the apertures, there are the presence of the smaller pores. Those smaller pores are the stomatal aperture, through which the gaseous exchange takes place during the process of photosynthesis, during the process of respiration, and additionally they can also perform an important functions of that stomatal, with the help of that stomatal aperture, that is when the excess transpiration, when the excess amount of water in the form of vapor is kept out from the aerial parts of the plant, that is known as transpiration. So we may see the first, this has a special features. We will discuss this one in some more detailed way. मैं उसको और आगे चल के बताऊंगा, लेकिन थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ आइडिया मैं दे दे रहा हूँ। एक स्पेशल फीचर्स आपने ये देखा कि इसके इधर इसके जो लीफ एरियल पार्ट्स जो हैं उसमें जहाँ तहाँ जो लीफ के रीजन है वहाँ पे आपको स्टोमेटल अपर्चर मिलेंगे। आफ्टर दैट in the underground parts, just we have discussed about the aerial part. Now the under plant, it covered all along the part of the body, plant body. ये क्या aerial parts, क्या इसके shoot system, क्या इसके root system, ये सारे body के parts को cover करता हुआ रहेगा। तो अब इसके जो roots part हैं उसमें आपने root hairs देखे होंगे। तो ये जो एक एक्सटेंडेड पार्ट है रूट का, जो कि रूट आप जानते हैं कि रूट जो है इट इज़ मेनली रिलेटेड विद द एब्जॉर्प्शन फंक्शंस ऑफ द वाटर एंड मिनरल्स। तो वहाँ पे ये सरफेस एरिया को इंक्रीज़ करने में सहायता करता है रूट हेयर्स के माध्यम से, और वो एब्जॉर्प्शन में हेल्प करता है। तो ये सेकंड इम्पॉर्टेंट इसका फीचर्स था। उसके बाद इसमें इन द थर्ड इम्पॉर्टेंट फीचर्स ऑफ दिस एपिडर्मल tissue is the presence of the cuticle layer that can prevent the evaporation, that can check the water loss, that can also protect from the invasion of the bacteria, fungi and the other adverse circumstances, and we will discuss all these things in the later part of the discussion. Here I have written those points which earlier we have discussed, that it is not only the protecting layer of the plant body, but it has some special features because due to the presence of some special structure. Here the some features like that in aerial parts of the plants, epidermal cells secrete a waxy covering called cuticle. Cuticle is a waterproof layer made up of cutin. It helps the plant against water loss by evaporation. It is mainly helpful in the desert plant where the scarcity of the water. Mechanical injury, invasion are the growth of fungi or the bacteria and entry of dust. So this is the protective nature. It save the plant against the mechanical injury, against the attack of microorganism and the parasitic fungus, the growth of parasitic fungus or bacteria and the entry of dust. So this is the one important features. The second important features, that epidermal cells of roots whose function is water absorption commonly bear long hair-like parts that greatly increase the total absorptive surface area. This is the present within the root parts. And the third important facts about this tissue is the presence of on the leaves part there are presence of stomata. There are presence of stomata. What is this stomata? Stomatal aperture is surrounded by two kidney shaped guard cell. This is the epidermal layer. This is the guard cell. Guard cell. Within this guard cell there are presence of chloroplast. Nucleus is also here, and these are the cytoplasm. Stomatal aperture. This is the chloroplast nucleus. So here in the epidermal part of the leaf, when you will look this one after cross section of leaf, then may you observe such type of structure. This structure possessing the very important device, very important structure in the plant body that will allow the exchange of gases. Here with this aperture there will be exchange of gases, and here these two kidney shaped guard cells are surrounded this aperture, and here is the subsidiary cell. Here in this if we are talking about the functions of this stomatal aperture, there are three important physiological activities like the process of photosynthesis, during which carbon dioxide taken and oxygen given out. That exchange of gases also takes place with the stomatal aperture. And number 2, during the process of respiration, when there is a oxygen taken and carbon dioxide given out, during this process of respiration, during the process of the during the process of the photosynthesis, when there is an exchange of gas, that gas of exchange takes place with the help of a major part of the gaseous exchange in the plant body takes place with this help of this. And also may you see in the case of bark or cork, the second important protective simple permanent tissue, where may you also see such type of pits, such type of aperture in the bark, that is the lenticule. But that is a very few and very little a fraction of the functions in regard to the gaseous section. Major functions performed by this stomatal aperture. So this one is the first important functions, like the photosynthesis, and during the photosynthesis there is an exchange of gases that will with the help of this stomatal apparatus or stomatal aperture. This all will know stomatal apparatus. Make and write here stomatal apparatus that consists of the 2 guard cell, the stomatal pore or aperture, and the subsidiary cell. So these are some facts. And the third important functions, the third important physiological activities, that is the process of transpiration in the plant body. Transpiration, during which from the aerial parts, what is the definition of the transpiration? Make and write you here, the excess amount of water in the form of vapor when escaped out from the aerial parts of the plant is known as transpiration. So this function is also carried out with the help of the stomatal apertures. There are 3 important physiological activities you have seen due to the stomatal structure in the plant body. The second important simple permanent tissue in regard to the protection is the cork. After epidermal tissue, the second important one is the cork. It is in the older plants, the outer epidermal layers undergo certain modifications. In that modification, there is a formation of the secondary meristems, and that secondary meristems again replaced by the epidermal layers. All these things in a detail, when you will study, then you will get in detail all those things. But you have to only write down these short notes according to your syllabus. There is no any detail required. Certain modifications and get replaced by a thicker and drier covering. This is called cork or bark. Bark, it is the in the common language word you may tell छाल. पुराने पेड़ों के ऊपर जो मोटे तने स्टेम्स होते हैं और उस स्टेम के ऊपर छालों का जो बहुत सारा पर्थ ऊपर से ऐसे अगर उसको टच करेंगे आप तो वो गिरना शुरू हो जाएगा, तो वही जो है ये यहाँ पे है, ये उसी को बार्क कहा जाता है। तो द सेल्स ऑफ द बार्क आर डेड, compactly arranged and intercellular and compactly arranged and no intercellular spaces and no, sorry, and here I have not written, and no intercellular spaces. The cells are thick walled as they contain a special chemical substance, so wherein is present, that is the fatty substance that make them thicker, harder. Bark cells are impervious to gases and water and keeps the cells dry. So this is the fact about the cork. So we have today in our lesson completed the simple permanent tissue, both of the supporting viewpoint and the protection viewpoint. So all these have been completed. In the next part of our lesson is the complex permanent tissue that comprises the two conducting tissues of the plant body, that is the xylem and phloem. In that complex permanent tissue, we will learn such type of tissue which are not composed by a single cell only. Those tissues are composed with the different type of cells. If you take examples like the xylem and phloem are the two important complex permanent tissue, and if you will look about the different cells which compose the xylem, then you will get the answer easily, that there are presence of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and the fibers. So all these component part of the tissues, maybe the sieve tube in case of the phloem, companion cell, phloem parenchyma, all these are the different types of cell. Out of them many more are dead and a few are also living. In case of the xylem, the 3 out of the 4 component, 3 component parts of the cells are dead and only 1 xylem parenchyma is living. Here in case of the phloem, there are 4 component parts, उसके भी 4 कंपोनेंट पार्ट हैं जिस तरह से xylem के होते हैं, और 4 में से 3 आप देखेंगे कि उसमें लिविंग है और केवल 1 डेड है, उसके जस्ट अपोजिट है xylem का। तो ये सारी चीज़ों को हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द लेसन में।